Hello everyone, welcome back to Complete and Total Random. Today we're going to be going over how to play the Conqueror in War Thunder. This is one of my favorite 7.7 heavies. It's quite unique in the fact that it has a stabilized 120mm gun on a heavy tank at this BR. It also has really good turret armor and extremely good pen. Its major downside being its lack of hull armor on the sides. And a really weak front lower glacis. But this is also made up for by the fact that at this BR it has over 500mm of pen, giving it quite a unique playstyle, being essentially a very, very effective sniper, but not necessarily the best for anything else. This thing you always want to play front forward, no angling. You can angle slightly if you want, try and give yourself a little bit more protection on your lower glacis, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it since your frontal hull armor is so good. Now, let's see this in practice. Essentially, it's a very good sniper, has a lot of velocity. You can essentially just pinpoint enemies from a distance, and sniping maps is where it shines the best, especially against other 7.7 heavies. Things like the Maws and the IS-4M at range can basically do nothing against you. Your only real threat with the Conqueror, as far as heavy tanks go, is the M109 with its heat. But even then, it can still struggle getting through your spaced armor once you get the up-armored modification. That's what these little plates on the front are. It's essentially just a little bit more spaced armor. Doesn't always give you the best protection against heat, but sometimes it's enough to stop it. This tank is quite unique. It is the last heavy tank ever built by Britain, and its sole purpose was to be able to essentially from range fire over things like the Centurion and take out things like the IS-3, which the West was quite scared of at the time. Right after the end of World War II, they were quite scared of the IS-3. Now this thing is also, I find it's best in hull down positions. Because of its gun, its armor doesn't hold up the best as far as heavy tanks are concerned at this BR, but it can just wallop if you can get good shots off. You have to be quite careful with your shots and pick your shots, because obviously the APDS doesn't do the best for spalling, even though it is a 120. And you need to be very careful of getting flanked. Its maneuverability is okay, but its reverse speed is horrible. Probably not the best place to demonstrate it. But as you can see, it has a stabilized gun, which is quite helpful. And it'll just go straight through whatever you want to put a hole in. You can see how even some of the strongest heavy tanks for their BRs just can't hold a candle to this thing's firepower, which is quite nice. You do have to be careful about angled tanks because they will go through you. Sometimes you will have issues where just things won't want to pen. I would recommend sticking around other heavy tanks. Things like the Maws, or especially the IS-4, because they'll have trouble. Go with certain tanks penetrating certain vehicles. Things like the Doom Turtle, you can go straight through the hull of and not have to worry. But again, your main concern is you're getting flanked, like I am now. Once you get flanked, chances are you're going to get wiped out, especially by things like heat. But as you can see, this gun at this BR will go through anything it faces. It's quite accurate as well, which means that at ranges it's perfect. You can go and brawl in the city on certain maps where there's not really much other choices, like this map. And it will struggle a bit, but you can still get by, especially if you're squatted up with people and have somebody to watch your back. Yeah, but as you can see, it also doesn't have the best reverse speed. It's better than most British heavy tanks, but 12 kilometers an hour is not something to rely on. Sometimes if you get yourself into a situation, sometimes it's better to just ram an enemy tank than to try and retreat from it. Which usually doesn't work, but it can help if it pushes them, lifts them up so they can't hit your lower glacius. Now sometimes you're just gonna have trouble, like your lower glacius is super weak. That's why I try and avoid fighting in the city if I can. Now, of course, if you can't hit a weak spot, sometimes you can also just pepper tanks to death. You get a little bit of spawn with this shell, solely due to the fact that it's got such a high velocity on it. There's somebody back here. I guess not. Okay, yep, there's somebody back there. But yeah, this gun is essentially just like a laser. Wherever you point is you're just gonna go through. Usually try and aim for things like ammo. That'll be your best bet. Smart players will go for your gun, which I think I'm surrounded here. It would help if I started repairing, but as you can see, yeah, a lot of people will just go for your barrel. It is quite fragile. I find that it doesn't take much for people to take it out. Now, of course, nothing's gonna make up for the fact that I wasn't paying attention. If you're not paying attention, you're gonna always struggle in those types of tanks. But yeah, with that, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Hope you guys found this video informative. If you have any vehicles you'd like me to do next, let me know in the comments below.